Thank you so much, honorable members. You are aware that, of course, I had remember because this is a matter of national concern. Rules. In any case, as I earlier mentioned, we expect people in this house within 7 days. Shall delivery report. That matter. Please proceed. Thank you very much. This motion the morning speaker this afternoon. The member speaker so it fits with the committee has been established, Mr. Speaker, by inserting the following numbers, Mr. Speaker. You remember number one, Mr. Speaker, should read another committee to establish to look into the above mentioned whose ownership comprised of 1. Honorable Vincent Korir, 2. Honorable Moses Rotich, 3. Honorable Philip Rono, 4. Honorable Eric B, 5. Honorable Tupac Niatich, 6. Honorable Matthew Korir, 7. Honorable Jacob Page, 8. Honorable Amber Kikoich, 9. Honorable Dora Kayo, 10. Honorable Irene Lanas, 11. Honorable Master Kikono, 12. Honorable David Maritim, 13. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Gabriela Chemano, 14. Honorable Richard Langat, and finally 15, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Peter Kemoi, Mr. Speaker. The same amendment, this one, Mr. Speaker, I think there was an oversight on issues to do with gender, Mr. Speaker, and other things, other issues to do with general balance, keeping into consideration membership from various committees, Mr. Speaker. We've seen it twice that we make number to 15 by inserting those names that I have read, Mr. Speaker. And I would wish that Honorable to support my amendment, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you so much, the Honorable Leader of Majority, for the amendment. And then question so that. Membership shall rise for the launch to now to number 1, and I will rise to that. Will many of the same opinion say aye for that amendment? Will many of the same opinion say aye? Will many of the contrary opinions say aye? Honorable members, that amendment that has, of course, the House will now go back to the said motion, the question, and I will now propose the question, which will
pave way for you now to discuss, because we were in the morning hours, honorable members, remember that we were having a motion, but now an amendment has been introduced. And therefore, we've got to propose the question afresh and allow members to debate now with those amendments. Honorable members, I now propose the question. Of course, that the motion by Honorable Vincent Korir and as amended by the leader of majority, that an ad hoc committee be established to look into the matter of Londiani accidents, be formed and a report be tabled in this house within the 7 days. So I now open the floor for the honorable members to debate. The Honorable Eric B.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on the motion brought in by Honorable Vincent Korir. Honorable Speaker, it is so unfortunate today that we are discussing an incident which happened almost 3 or 4 weeks ago, Mr. Speaker. And before then, Mr. Speaker, I must pass out actually condolences for the victim and for the deceased people, Mr. Speaker. And may they rest them in peace, because it is so unfortunate. Today, we are again coming up with a motion which is looking into actually allocation brought in, Mr. Speaker, which in essence we should be discussing on how to still comfort the families. But us as leaders in this county assembly today, Mr. Speaker, we are opening up or injuring some a hillhood, a motion. Mr. Speaker, in the first case, I have seen the motion which has actually brought in by Honorable Vincent Korir. Deliberately, Mr. Speaker, it is our mandate as an assembly to oversee only allegations, any incident happening in accordance with the constitution of this country, Mr. Speaker, that we should oversight anything which has happened in the executive, not only executive, Mr. Speaker, we also represent our people in our county, Mr. Speaker. So we are on the right track by discussing this debate, though we are causing other injuries to the bereaved families, Mr. Speaker. But we should continue, and we should also set precedents so that in anything, in any case, other things will happen before, and God forbid, it should not happen with this, within this county, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, it is not justice. In the word call, the way the committee, immediately after the Arambe, Mr. Speaker, it was not fair, because we've heard that the committee never include this honorable member who belonged to the area where the incident happened, Mr. Speaker. We've seen even the area MCA was not even involved. I remember, Mr. Speaker, we went to the prayer meeting, and also after the Arambe, the only thing we were given as an honorable member is just to wave. And one lucky thing is that the people from that area, Mr. Speaker, raised concern and say the area MCA should speak, and he spoke, Mr. Speaker. But by and large, immediately after the Arambe, everybody went home, Mr. Speaker. And the only thing which happened is that they made a committee. I am very interested, and I'm very concerned about the committee. How did you form a committee in the money which does not belong to this county? In the first case, the area MCA should be, in the first case, be involved. Should be in the forefront. I've pity for the honorable Maritime and the counterpart, Mr. Speaker, because as at now, they have no clue. The way this money was given and was brought to the victim, we are not aware. This is just but allocation. But this matter, Mr. Speaker, today, it should look deeper. It should scrutinize anything from the word money collection, Mr. Speaker, because I remember there was a pay bill. And this pay bill, Mr. Speaker, had collection in it. We have even surprised to see that the only money which was placed in that pay bill, Mr. Speaker, was only 29,000. And from the look of things, Mr. Speaker, even the leaders above, they place and they send the money through the pay bill. So this matter, Mr. Speaker, is very weighty, and we should allow this committee to look into this matter seriously within 7 days and should bring the report to this house so that if in any case, Mr. Speaker, anybody is liable to this misappropriation of this fund should be in jail, Mr. Speaker. And we should also, the committee, it is lucky among the committee, Mr. Speaker. And before then, yesterday, with my committee, we decided that we should call the CC in charge to come and explain. But I saw it fit, Mr. Speaker, so that the whole house should be inclusive so that we can discuss this matter and come up with the report. Because the name of this county, Mr. Speaker, is at this solid state as you speak. You are not trusted with this small money. They've done as fun. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, the money which were collected was placed in a special purpose account. In any case, under this standing order of this house, Mr. Speaker, if you put money to any donation coming to this county and it is put in a special purpose account, it should first of all come to this house so that we do appropriation according to my understanding, Mr. Speaker. But these people committee only went ahead and just decided that this is money for tents. And of course, it was a donation, Mr. Speaker. Someone should have come out as a donor and give out the tent so that he can support this victim, Mr. Speaker. Another thing, Mr. Speaker, somebody is thinking that the money should be given for appreciation. How do you appreciate a police officer? In heart, Mr. Speaker. And it is entitled to do their work. They should not be appreciated. They should not be the one voluntarily coming out to do the work to assist the victim. Number three, Mr. Speaker, there is an issue called psychosocial motivation. I don't know how, because I'm a medic, Mr. Speaker, I am not entitled to be given a psychosocial support through money, Mr. Speaker. The only thing I need to be done is to be taken to the counseling. And we have counselors within county referral hospital who are entitled to do their work. They should not be given stipend. They should not give in money. They should also come out. One thing I'm surprised, Mr. Speaker, even the NGOs, the Red Cross, were never appreciated. And those are the people who did a thorough work. They pitched the tent. They were able to assist the victim, Mr. Speaker. But in the allocation, I have not seen where it is written. So this house, Mr. Speaker, let's deliberate on this issue so that we take the county to a higher level. Thank you. I support the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Eric B. Yes, honorable members, we are continuing with your contribution. The Honorable Kiprotich Rogon. Let me proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support the motion before this House, Mr. Speaker. The matter at hand is now becoming a matter of concern nationwide. Mr. Speaker, of course, it was very unfortunate for such an incident to turn the way it has turned. Mr. Speaker, watching in the media, all over the social media, it is unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that even the victims of the accident that happened in Londiani, before they are even, those who are unwell, those who are in various hospitals, before they are released, Mr. Speaker, this matter came up. And I must thank the member who came up with this motion because, Mr. Speaker, there are so many questions that have been raised. It is true, we know from the public, from the media, that around 13.6 million was raised. Again, Mr. Speaker, just the other day, a senior member of the county executive confirmed to the public that even the pay bill that was generated for members of the public to send their support was still open. That means, Mr. Speaker, there are even monies that cannot be accounted at the moment. So, Mr. Speaker, indeed, as a House, we have every reason to ask serious questions to the people who are concerned. Mr. Speaker, as it is now, the people who are injured, those who are critically injured, and those taken to various hospitals, we are not even aware of their current state. Mr. Speaker, this House demands serious answers from the executive, because if these monies were raised and they were meant to support the various families that lost their loved ones, the members of the public who were injured, and this money have never been sent to them, then it is true, Mr. Speaker, we need answers. And I want to join my colleagues in also raising issues. I was not here when the fundraiser and the prayer was done. But from what we saw, members of County Assembly, including even the area member of County Assembly coming from that place, was not even given chance. You saw the other day, Mr. Speaker, MCS were tossed here and there until they left a public function. It is true, the members of this House have not been given their place in a public function as that one. So, Mr. Speaker, it means even in planning this function, a member of County Assembly representing the people of Kidawa Kimugul, Londiani, Chepsion were never involved. That means this House, Mr. Speaker, is in darkness as the rest of the public, members of the public who raised these issues. So this motion is getting us an opportunity to ask for answers from these people who took part. Indeed, it means a large amount of money was misappropriated from the reports that we are now getting. So the mover of the motion did well to come up with this motion, because it is now upon the committee that has been formed to do a thorough job, so that in the next 7 days, this House will be informed of how they expended the money that was raised. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, and this one, we must be honest. Kericho County, the county government of Kericho, as it is now, has not been very efficient in even trying to sort out matters, respond to the emergencies. From the media, Mr. Speaker, we saw Bomet coming with, of course, what happened in Londiani was so huge that the county government of Kericho was overwhelmed. But even immediately after that, the county has not begin to set up a disaster management unit that will respond to such incidences. Mr. Speaker, we kept on asking, do we really have functional vehicles to assist even the victims of such an accident? But as it is now, Mr. Speaker, because this will be a matter of another time, from this motion, when the report is tabled, we will then begin to put in place a number of measures as a House to be able to hold executive to account for most of the monies that is generated or is given to such a department in response to emerging issues. With this, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Protich. Yes, the Honorable, I saw your hand, Honorable David Maritim. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for allowing me this opportunity to contribute also to this serious problem we have in our county, Gillian East, to be specific. Mr. Speaker, whenever we are going for a fundraiser, we don't know what we are going to get. And if this is the case, Mr. Speaker, suppose we got from the list circulating in the social media, Mr. Speaker, the tent that was paid 2 million. Suppose we got 1 million in the fundraiser. So what could we have done? Because the way I can see this list, Mr. Speaker,
it seems that we are paying tents, lunch, and for your information, Mr. Speaker, we had donation from the national government amounting to 1.5 million. That was pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical to our hospitals, and it's not reflected here. So, Mr. Speaker, there is a scam in this county, plus the national leaders. They should not shy away from the blame. They should carry their own cross. I, as a member of County Assembly, representing people of Gypsy Onward, I was not involved in this. I was not incorporated in anything. So I want to stand here and say somebody must take his own cross, and people should go home. People should pay way for investigation if you are mentioned. I want to urge this committee never to shy away. I know in Kenya, whenever you are appointed to do something, there must be something which can follow you. But I want to tell you, you people, you MCS, honorable members, let that passion not follow you. Because I am hearing from some quarters that there is something going on right now. Because this thing is very hot. It's an allegation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, the Honorable David Maritim. The Honorable Martin.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, also for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion that has been raised by the Honorable Member, Vincent Korir, concerning the accident that occurred on 30th June 2023. At this time, the Honorable Speaker, it's a time that we could be actually praying for these aggrieved families which were affected by this, knowing that people lost lives and many injured. But, Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that this issue of misuse of funds that were intended to support this, the victims or the families that were affected by this accident have been raised in this House. And Honorable Speaker, also it's unfortunate that as we discuss this motion, these honorable members, the MCS in particular, were not involved in planning or even in this committee that planned for that arose as a result of this accident. It seems like, Mr. Speaker, that I don't know whether we can call it a disconnect between the other leaders and the MCS, but I think it should be something that has to awaken us as leaders also to take our positions and do what is required of us. I know we are discussing these issues because we are representatives of our people, and we do oversight. And in this case, because of what has come up, Honorable Speaker, I want to support this motion strongly and urge the committee that has been formed to look into this matters and issues seriously, because if these allegations actually are true, Honorable Speaker, then these people, if they are working for the county government of Kericho or even the national government, should step aside for the investigations to be done, so that such kind of things should not happen in the future, and justice is done to the affected families or the victims of the accident. The Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, when the fundraiser was done, I was not around, but from where we were, we were following, and then an issue that really touched even us or touched me is that if an area MCA or area MCA, especially MCAs from those regions, or even any other MCA cannot be given an opportunity to grieve or even to express the grief like any other, because when such kind of thing happens, I want to believe that it strikes each one of us in equal measure. We cannot say because you are maybe in a senior position, it strikes you higher than maybe somebody else. It's really so sad and disheartening that I don't know whether some other leaders are seen to be lesser leaders in our society, but it should come to be let it be a wake-up call even to those other leaders that we all represent our people, and in such a situation, MCAs had even something to say. We are not saying in future because we are not praying for such kind of things, but let the space of us as MCAs, let us be given space, not only in this, but also in other forums where we represent our people. For this, I want to urge the committee that has been formed, the ad hoc committee, that let them take this assignment seriously and give us a detailed report. Let them table the detailed report in this house so that we find a way forward and those affected families get justice. And let it be a lesson also, even in our society, that let us be people who are upright, who never engages. Let it not be a society where we see such kind of happening to be a cash cow, where people tend to be rushing to reap something out of it. Let it be a lesson that we have an assembly that is working, and people must take responsibility, Honorable Speaker. So I support this motion, and I urge the committee to give us a detailed report. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Martin. The Honorable, you will allow me to give to the Honorable Amos Berir, of course, because he's a senior citizen. I've seen his hand up. The Honorable Amos Berir, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance you have given me. Actually, I want to congratulate the honorable member for Londiani. We are here, and we are leaders who are representing Richo County. I hope we are here for what has been happened. We want to clean ourselves. And that is what we say. I hope all of us, I can even say in a vernacular language. Oh, I broke already breaking the laws. So I want to apologize for that. And sometimes English is very difficult language because it is not our language. But forgive me, Mr. Speaker. And we are here to clean ourselves because we are leaders representing Richo County. Actually, these things, it is really very bad for everybody, especially our leaders. So because we want all nearly in our country, Kenya, nearly everybody is watching Gericho. So we are here to clean ourselves because this thing which happened is not good for all Kericho County. And sometimes, some people say, if you can see somebody being killed by people and you never revealed, you can be followed by the sin, and you are not the one who killed him. So we aren't here to say something which can make us to be clean, because if there are some people who knows all these things, we are requesting to rebuild, because we are continue mourning for those people. We are giving a word of sorrows for those families. While we are mourning, it is really surprised to hear the money we contributed in Londiani never reached to those people who are crying. So we are here to clean ourselves, and I want to say, Paul, for those people who knows these things. If somebody is aware, he took the money for those people who are mourning, we are requesting to apologize, because when you make something, you can be followed by a sin, and that sin can destroy, even can affect your children. So we are requesting leaders. I want to thank the honorable members, because you decided to make this thing so that we clean ourselves. People can be surprised, say, we have never heard anything from spiritual leaders, or they are all affected by this thing. So thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let us continue to find out, and I think eventually the result will come.
Thank you, the Honorable. I want to give to Honorable Irene, and then I give to Dr. Moses, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion too. Let me first begin by thanking the mover of the motion, that is Hon.Vincent Korir, because it is timely and it is an issue that is at hand at the present. The tragedy occurred, that is on Friday, 30th June 2023, and it is still very fresh in our minds. In fact, when I was seated there, I remembered, because the next day, very early in the morning, I was at Londiani Junction. I saw all that was taking place there. You even went, and we saw the people who lost their lives, the families who were in deep grief, and finding ourselves today discussing this matter in a different dimension like today, it is a bit confusing. It has never crossed my mind that when such weighty issues happen, somebody can decide to misuse even funds of that such funds. These are allegations, and we are here today in a fact-finding mission. After establishing the committee, I urge the committee to stand firm and bring facts to this honorable house that will make the affected families and the affected county feel that they are represented. We are doing our role of representation, and we have not gone against the rule of law. This one, at least we need even to quote even a verse that is biblical, because this is a weighty matter. In the book of Romans 13:7, I'm not preaching, it says, give everyone what you owe them. If it is taxes, you pay taxes. If it is revenue, then pay revenue. If it is respect, and for the case of Londiani, if it is the money that was collected for the purpose of settling debts or giving out to the bereaved families, and let there be, or let it be. So this one, it is a weighty matter. It is a matter of national concern and even international. And we want from this honorable house is when the members of the public will get to know the truth. We need justice for the victims. It is the truth and nothing more than that. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Irene. Dr. Moses Rotich.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion and effectively contribute to the same. Mr. Speaker, it is a sad moment. Now that we lost our people, Mr. Speaker, some are still in hospital, Mr. Speaker. Others are recovering at home, Mr. Speaker. We conducted an effective humanitarian fund drive, Mr. Speaker, that was supposed to support both the families that lost their loved ones and also cater for the needs of the casualties, Mr. Speaker, who were in hospital. It was saddening, Mr. Speaker, if I may take this house back, that after the incident of the Arambe, Mr. Speaker, those who had lost their loved one, Mr. Speaker, they had to go home and conduct another fundraiser to foot the expenses, the funeral expenses, considering the fact that there was a caretaker committee that took the money to a known location. Mr. Speaker, it is a sad moment. And if I may say this, Mr. Speaker, humanity has gone out of our people. Mr. Speaker, having contributed, we are told, of 13.6 million, Mr. Speaker, the amount that we are told reached to the victims, Mr. Speaker, is less than half. Meaning, the 3/4 went to planning of the event, Mr. Speaker. It is a sorry state. I didn't wish to be invited, or this house to be invited in such a discussion, Mr. Speaker, but circumstances at hand has really brought us to this sad moment. We are supposed to have concluded the matter, but now that the matter is still pending, now that we have a committee in place that is going to work within the clock, Mr. Speaker, and deliver a report to this house, to be hoping it will be acted upon, Mr. Speaker, so that these families get justice that is timely. Mr. Speaker, it is our prayer that this matter is dealt with due diligence. Mr. Speaker, as the MCA representing Tendeno Soget ward, Mr. Speaker, it was sad. A sad reality, Mr. Speaker, that we were called in to a planning function, Mr. Speaker. Our kicks, Mr. Speaker, began after we had finished the meeting at the doorsteps. While other people were visiting the site, Mr. Speaker, We were left at the door. There were no vehicle. I wish to congratulate Honorable Segelai, because most of us, we lost hope. He struggled all the way from here with his own KAW, Mr. Speaker, only to reach the scene. The person that the planners had already left. The following day, Mr. Speaker, during the fund drive, we were even denied a chance to say poorly to our people. The office of the MCA is a constitutional office. We want to urge our friends to come clean, to come clear. As they say, they are willing to respect the Constitution. Respect begins from respecting the elected leaders. We were all elected together in the same election, Mr. Speaker. We were even told that we are bottom up. And we were even representing the lowest tier, the most important leadership position that forms the foundation. Mr. Speaker, it is our prayer in the days to come that we fight for our space, that we be respected. It was saddening, Mr. Speaker, that after that fundraiser, people were asking us, where are the money? The sad reality was, Mr. Speaker, they took the money. Who took the money? We could not reveal the identity because we were not composite. We were not a factor in the committee. As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, those persons who sat in the committee must come clear. Otherwise, they must clean their hands. Otherwise, curse is real. And I repeat, Mr. Speaker, a curse is real. And to shun away from this curse, Mr. Speaker, is to say the truth. If you took something that was appropriated for a funeral, if you took something, Mr. Speaker, that was appropriated for a person or a victim who got injured, Mr. Speaker, it is prudent that those people take individual, collective, and a personal responsibility and act appropriately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, the Honorable Richard Segla, and then I'll give to the Deputy Speaker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance to support the motion. Actually, Mr. Speaker, sir, the date that Mr. Speaker, June 2023, was really a very dark day for Kedoa Kimogul ward, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, actually my ward was the hardest hit, Mr. Speaker, sir, with this accident. Mr. Speaker, sir, and my ward only had about 14 people who died during that accident, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when we did a fundraiser, Mr. Speaker, sir, and of course, I want to thank the office of the governor, Mr. Speaker, sir, for calling us to his office, Mr. Speaker, sir, before the fundraiser. We planned the fundraiser, Mr. Speaker, sir, but immediately after fundraising, Mr. Speaker, sir, never again, Mr. Speaker, sir, we were involved. And from that junction, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is where the money, this is when the money we are talking of, Mr. Speaker, sir, got lost. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, sir, for coming in, Mr. Speaker, sir, with another committee, Mr. Speaker, sir, that will look into this matter, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, I want to urge all those members who are in the committee, Mr. Speaker, sir, that let us not be compromised, Mr. Speaker, sir, because if we are compromised, Mr. Speaker, sir, we shall be ended by the blood of those who went to the soil, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me wish that there shall be no stone unturned, Mr. Speaker, sir, until the culprits of those who misappropriated this money, Mr. Speaker, be brought to book. So lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me end by condoling those who lost their loved one and say quick recovery to those who are still in hospital. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I actually I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Richard Langat. The Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to also support the motion for today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to borrow my contribution from the budget making process where we do revenue collection and allocate. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the fundraising in Londiani is a replica of revenue that the county government of Kericho was holding in custody for the victims of the tragedy that happened. Mr. Speaker, sir, it would have been prudent that before expensing this money, that the officers who are entrusted should have made their proposal and sent to this house for consideration. The same way, Mr. Speaker, sir, they send the budget estimates for this house. I find that they should have sent before this house so that we would have deliberated on such a matter, because those were monies that were given through a fundraising for one specific function, for a tragedy that nobody planned for it, but it hit our county so hard. Mr. Speaker, sir, I just want to raise 5 pertinent questions, which I would like the committee that has been formed, the ad hoc committee, to also factor in when they will be expanding this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, allow me to just pose these questions, and I hope the committee will be able to answer them as they proceed. The first question I would want to pose to the committee on ad hoc is why would a government officer commit a county government to a contractor without money at its disposal, because the funeral did not belong to them? Number 2, why would officers on duty, all of us included, would be paid by DM and claim money for a tragedy? There are members here, Honorable Speaker, who went there physically and they haven't claimed the money. So the committee should answer what criteria did those who gave the money so it fit that those officers who are on payroll to be given per diem. Number 3, why would a government officer in the Ministry of Health raise a claim contrary to instructions from the governor to waive the bill Number 4, was the legal process of selecting a contractor followed as detailed by Public Procurement Act? Remember, there was revenue raised. So at the time of giving this money to be paid to different services, was the laws of procurement followed? The committee should answer that. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, is on the two arms of government. We have the county government and the national government. Why would a county government issue payments to a national government doing official work on a tragedy that befell the people of Kericho? In this case, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to understand why would the office of the county commissioner be paid money for work they are supposed to be doing every day? Why would the county government expend money? So those are my 5 key questions I'm raising to the committee on ad hoc to answer those questions as they do their work for the next 7 days. And I hope the answers will give a solution for this particular stalemate that is in our county. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to urge the committee that has been formed to do their work diligently and not to dream of extending the 7 days they have been given. I want to be specific, Mr. Speaker, sir, that they should start working from tomorrow. In fact, as Chair last, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want them to do their work plan beginning today. And tomorrow, they should send the work plan before your office, beginning on how they're going to spend the 7 days. And we expect the report next week on Tuesday. Mr. Speaker, sir, if we do that, we will also help the country because there are many answers. So the earlier we have this report tabled, the better for us. Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I beg to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Deputy Speaker. Yes, the floor is still open for the Honorable members. The Honorable Leader of Majority. Honorable members, of course, having reading the mood of the House is that the Honorable members are in agreement with the motion. I want to give this opportunity to the mover with the motion, that is the Honorable Vincent, to reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. First of all, I would like to appreciate the members of this House for the level of interest that they had in this motion, and also the contribution that you have made regarding the incident that happened in Londiani. Mr. Speaker, sir, the public has so many questions that need answers. And I'm very happy today because we have formed an ad hoc committee that will oversight and look at these issues and questions that are supposed to be answered. As one of the affected members, I and other members from the Kipkelion East, we were the most affected because we were actually in the scene. We know the families. We have been to their homes, and we understand how they feel. Actually, I want to thank the national government because they also contributed by giving the victims some support, which we must acknowledge in this House. And actually, I must say the donation from the national government was well received, and there is no complaint at all. The issue is this money, the 13.6 million, has raised a lot of questions. And I believe the committee that was formed to actually plan for this Harambe, or for this fundraising, should be able to actually explain to us how they arrived at the figures that they gave to the victims. Because the expectation is the 13.6 million given or shared to the victims was going to above 90,000 that was given. There are also people who lost their properties. There are people who lost their motorbikes. There are people who are hospitalized. There are people who were injured beyond. And there are also people who are hospitalized in other counties. We have victims who comes within our county and outside the county as well. There are those who are admitted in our hospitals, and there are those who are admitted in other hospitals outside the county. We must be able to know how all these victims were helped. And actually, the committee should be able to explain very well, because there are people who are from within our counties, and there are people who are responsible, there are people who we know, there are people who we have entrusted with management of our resources. And I believe this ad hoc, the way DSU have said, we must start work immediately so that we will be able to give out answers and to the public. Actually, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are not supposed to be discussing this motion today if everything had gone well as required. We must get answers, and wherever, if there is the truth should be known, and if there is anyone who has actually misused or misappropriated the money, should carry the responsibility, and we will act as a house as mandated by the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know the victim are still condoling. We will still also request that, you see, when you remind someone of something that you are almost forgetting, it will still hurt. We will still need to be close to the victims. And if at all this money was lost, it should be returned and be given out as required to the victims. Mr. Speaker, I know the committee will come up with a very clean and truthful report without any influence that will be able to clear the air on how the money was spent. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I don't want to proceed. The motion is clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The mover with the motion, the Honorable Vincent Korir. Honorable members, I will now rise to put the question that an ad hoc committee be established to look into the matter of Londiani accidents as raised by the mover with the motion and guided by the terms of reference herein, and that the committee shall table a report of the said issues within 7 days from the date of passing of this motion. Will as many of similar opinions say aye? Will as many as contrary opinions say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, of course, having now dispensed with the motion as per our standing orders, I just want to direct as follows: that number one, the committee to start their to commence their sitting immediately and to adhere to the timeline of 7 days from today. Secondly, in the election of the chairman and the vice chair of the committee, the rules and procedures of the committees as stipulated in our standing orders equally applies to the ad hoc committee. Honorable members, there being no other agenda or order, this house adjourns until the next sitting.